Hello there, I'm Tony Gale and you are listening to We Are West Ham podcast.
You are listening to the We Are West Ham podcast with me, Will Pugh, Tom Edwards and James Jones. And what the Haller was all the fuss about? Sebastien nonchalantly smashed one in the top corner from 25 yards without even breaking into a jog and shrugged it off as if it was nothing as West Ham put the blades to the sword in the Tevez derby. A thoroughly convincing 1-0. Far more professional than the nerve-jangling victory over Fulham the week before. The Hammers are 8th, and if it wasn't confirmed already, we are absolutely massive. Jonesy, lovely to see you. Glad you've got your little boy involved in Football Shirt Friday. Finally bought him his first West Ham shirt. West Ham getting in the Champions League, surely.
Yeah, good to see you too, mate. I bought my son his first West Ham kit. It's his first birthday in a couple of weeks, so unfortunately, I'm going to give him a life of sadness, just like we've all had to go through as well. But yeah, I'm just wondering whether you're still really angry about us winning at the weekend, because you were after the Fulham game. So I'm just wondering whether you've managed to find a little bit of joy in your heart for those 3 points on Sunday.
Well, first of all, I mean, spoiler alert for your lad, by the way, telling him or announcing on the podcast that he's getting a West Ham shirt for his first birthday. What if he listens?
He listens. He listens every night because, as you know, my voice is a cure for insomnia, and I put it on just so I can get to sleep at night.
Well, fair play for that one. But no, as far as my anger goes, I know you've written on the running order for tonight that I'm absolutely livid that we won again, but far from it. I thought it was a thoroughly professional performance. We definitely deserved to win. If it wasn't for a little bit of hesitancy on a few occasions and poor decision-making from Jarrod Bowen in the final third of the pitch, it could have been quite a comfortable 2 or 3-0 stroll. Probably should have been, to be quite honest with you. I thought it was far more professional than Fulham. And yeah, it was just nice to see us be the better team and walk away with the result we deserved. Completely unlike what happened at Fulham. If we'd have given away a brainless penalty right at the death at Sheffield United and then stood around looking at each other going, oh my God, what happened? And relied on someone to pull a rusty Panenka to get a lucky 3 points. And yeah, I'd have been furious again, understandably. But no, absolutely delighted with that result, especially as we mentioned last week, as it was against Sheffield United. But Thomas, wonderful to see you here again, mate. Yeah, I mean, so many positives. Back-to-back wins, back-to-back 1-0s, albeit. But these are exactly the sort of games that we could have been expected to stutter and stumble at, given, after we had that hard run of games against the big teams. You could just see it, couldn't you? A bit feeling of positivity, and then 1 point out of these 2 games, it would all come crashing down. But far from it, buoyant and positivity around the club.
Exactly. It's very nice to come back with another win, lads. Always a pleasure. And yeah, exactly that, mate. When you said professional, I think that's the job which sort of ties it all together with Sunday's performance. We were very solid at the back. I know they had 1 or 2 chances. McBurney particularly could have done well with one. But apart from that, the back 4 was pretty sensational. Bonner barely put a foot wrong, hasn't all season. And then you've got the front 3 who caused problems on the counter-attack. And we just looked like a really solid together team now. He's grinding out results and making the most of the luck that does go our way. So long may it continue, mate.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, I really enjoyed the whole game at the weekend. I just thought we were better. I mean, Sheffield United are rubbish. I can't believe the transformation for them from last season. They really they don't look anything like the side they were last year. But lads, excellent show lined up tonight. Once again, we've smashed it out the park with the former players. As a guest, we've got ex-West Ham striker, star of the 85-86 season, Frank McAvennie, on the We Are West Ham podcast later on. So we'll have Frank, just as we had his famous strike partner, Tony Cottee, a couple of weeks ago. Frank will be joining us in part 2 and 3 for the evening. So we'll grill him on Sheffield United, what he makes of Sebastien Haller, having played such an integral part for West Ham in that striker position in his career. We've got lots more coming as well, though. So we'll cover the Sheffield United game with Frank. We'll, of course, ask him some questions about his career and his time at the club, including that partnership with former We Are West Ham guest Tony Cottee. We've asked the We Are West Ham listeners for their opinion, and we've unearthed a repeat question this time. It's back to the Haller-Antonio conundrum. Tom Edwards put the poll out earlier today, so we'll listen to what the We Are West Ham fans and listeners have got to say about that after Haller's goal at the weekend. The Betway charity bet so close again at the weekend, but no money coming in. So we'll line up our bets for the Villa game next weekend. We've got an opposition view, of course. Tim, the Aston Villa fan and TV presenter, is on later on. Name That Game is back with James Jones, the quizmaster. And of course, we'll wrap up with the West Ham women's segment. And this week, we've got another huge guest, Kate Longhurst, West Ham women's star. Her dad, Jeff, who's been a big fan. Matt Beard obviously getting sacked since we've done our last show, so lots to cover as far as the women's team are concerned. Kate's played for Matt for around 10 years, and Jeff has known him for all that time, so we'll have some insight into Matt, the decision to sack Matt Beard, or the mutual departure that occurred in the week, and we'll get Jeff's thoughts, of course, on the men's team as well. We'll have an FPL update, which is a part of the show I am really looking forward to, especially to have a chat with James Jones about. So it's a brilliant one, lads. Jonesy, Frank McAvennie coming up in a few short minutes for everyone at home. And once again on the We Are West Ham podcast, we're delighted to say that we've got another competition. We handed out a free West Ham shirt for this season to Chrissy a couple of weeks ago. And Jonesy, you've got another competition that you've lined up with the Art of Football.
Yeah, I've been speaking to the guys at Art of Football. I've done some stuff with them previously over the years, some giveaways on another West Ham account that I run, and they got in touch, said they got a Christmas giveaway. Would you be up for it? And obviously I said, well, we got this podcast that we can give away. So listeners head over to our Twitter account at @WeAre_West Ham. Find the tweet. We'll pin it for a few days. I think the winner needs to be announced on Sunday. So we'll pin it for a few days, and all we've got to do is retweet, follow us and Art of Football for a chance to win either a t-shirt or a print for your wall, West Ham related. They've got loads of great West Ham related products, t-shirts with Di Canio, famous moments, or just kits and stuff like that. So
I saw the retro old kit print. I like that.
Yeah, some really, really cool products, and a prize well worth winning if you can get involved. So head over to our Twitter account and give yourself a chance of winning something ahead of Christmas.
Absolutely. Christmas present or a little gift for yourself. So head on over to @WeAre_West Ham on Twitter to enter that competition. Quick shout out as ever to all our listeners, new and old, as Boris Johnson has confirmed that the lockdown restrictions the lockdown's been lifted and we're back to the tiered system again. So I hope that works out for everyone listening and you're all able to see your families and do a bit more of what you want to do. Obviously, fans coming back as well. We'll discuss that, the chance that West Ham will be able to get some home fans in for that home fixture on Boxing Day against Brighton. So hello to everyone. Don't forget, of course, to rate, review, like, share, subscribe on all of our platforms, and just do us a favour, tell your mates about it. We've had a few new listeners this week who aren't on social media as such, and just word of mouth, the good old word of mouth. The age of social media is great, but if you can spread the word, send a text, share the episode, copy a link to someone who might not listen already, then we would be very, very grateful. You can, of course, watch the show on YouTube. The link is in the podcast description below. So if you're listening to this, just scroll up, hit the link, and you can subscribe to the channel and watch me and the lads. And you can have a look at the, Tom's hair looking good this week. So it's worth nipping over to YouTube if just for that. But lads, massive show tonight. Jonesy, Frank McAvennie coming up shortly. Wonderful news.
Yes, that's the third member of the Boys of 86 we've had on now.
In the past 4 weeks, I think.
In the past 4 weeks. It's Frank's debut on this version of the podcast. I know we've had him on the radio show a few times, but It's his debut on this version of the We Are West Ham show. So, really looking forward to having a chat with Frank and hearing his views on the current state of affairs at the club. Obviously, there's a lot of positivity, but also hearing some of his stories from his time at the club, particularly in that famous Boys of '86 season where we finished third. And just really looking forward to listening to Frank chat West Ham.
Just a quick heads up though to you two. It was actually Frank's birthday on Sunday, so it's customary to wish someone a happy birthday. I know we've missed it by a couple of days, but
Frank is definitely deserving of a happy birthday. So I'll make sure.
Yeah, none of this. Oh, it's a couple of days late, Frank. Sorry, I don't want to say anything. None of that. This is Frank McAvennie. We're wishing him happy birthday, even if it is 2 days late, whether you like him or not. But stay with us because all that. Frank McAvennie, star of the Boys of '86 season, 190 appearances, 60 goals across 2 spells at the club. Coming up next. You are still listening to the We Are West Ham podcast with me, Will Pugh, Tom Edwards and James Jones. And I am thrilled to say that we are joined by West Ham legend, Boys of '86 hero, Tony Cottee, who's a friend of the podcast, his strike partner for all those years. It is none other than Frank McAvennie. Frank, delighted to have you with us. And first of all, and I must do this to prove a point to these two who missed my own birthday the other week. Happy birthday for Sunday, 61 years young. But many happy returns. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, sit in the house, lockdown, isn't it? Just got to enjoy yourself, ain't you? It's just get on with it. It's one of them. Every day's like Groundhog Day now, so
yeah.
We'll get by it, I'm sure.
Good man. But a massive victory over Sheffield United at the weekend, Frank. 2 back-to-back 1-0s, not exactly particularly pretty, certainly the Fulham one. But the weekend's performance, I thought, was a really professional and pretty solid encounter. It's an age-old cliche, but those are, games West Ham might have lost in seasons past. Do you think it's a bit of a sign that we're beginning to turn a corner at the moment?
Well, I think so. I hope so, because, the fans have deserved better, even though they can't get in. They're still watching the games, and it's been hard to watch them for many a time. But at the moment, I think they've got some good energy. I'd love to see Declan stay, even way by the end of the season. There's been so much speculation. We'll not be doing him any good. But I think he's enjoying himself in the midfield at the moment. There's a lot of energy, as I say, and people are getting about their business. Big Haller, he's I don't know what you make him. He's a wonderful. You look at him, you think you should be a world beater. I mean, he should. When he was setting out the team, if that was me, I'd be sitting looking at Antonio and thinking, I've got to beat that to get back into my team. Now Antonio puts himself about, and he's a workhorse. He does everything for the team. And I'm thinking, the big man he's like an athlete, and he doesn't do it. And I'm thinking. And he could score. I made a statement when he came. I thought he would be the first to score 20 goals for many a season. And it doesn't seem to be able to play in a one. He can't hold the line. I know he scored a wonderful goal, but I wouldn't have been. I'd have been in the box. See, when he scored, he just walked after it. And I'm thinking, sometimes you've got to be lucky, but I believe the midfield players would have come onto that and hit it, but you make your own. You make your own just luck in games, and as a centre forward, he got probably smiling. He scored a goal. He scored a wonder goal, and I thought, my God, he's just lost a bet. Do you know what I mean? All the boys. You can see all the boys round about them. They're all delighted. Every one of them, all smiling. Congratulations, big man. I know what it's like as a striker when you're not scoring. So that was a wonderful thing, and I just stood there and think. And then he was on TV after it, and I thought maybe it's just he doesn't like his teammates. But he's on. He says, "Yeah, I'm very delighted." And I thought, my God, show your face. Tell your face you're delighted, because he's like that on telly. And I thought maybe that's just the way the guy is. I don't know.
He says, doesn't he, Frank? He says on that. Sorry, James, to interrupt. He says that I'm a striker. I'm paid to score goals, so. there's nothing to celebrate. That's what I'm paid to do. That's my job. Do you buy into that? Because that's the same for all strikers in history, isn't it?
No, you know what's going to happen. He knows that Antonio's coming back and he's going straight in, and that's and I'm sorry, but he should be working his backside off because, as I say, he's an athlete. He's huge. He showed it at the weekend. He's got some great touches. The header, he put in, and was it Bowen? He missed it, and was it
Soucek, wasn't it? Yeah.
So he missed that. Some great touches, but see when you make a touch, you've got to get in the box and get in the end of the work you've done. And I just think he strolls about. I think he's definitely made for playing with 2 or 3 up front. He's not. He's definitely not. And he could be, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. You guys are too young to have seen me, but when I played, if I was his height and his size and his ball, I would have been knocking people about all over the place. It would have been, I'd have scored a lot more goals, because the centre halves were big lads, and they're all fair to him, but he doesn't do it. So he's an enigma, I think. So, but listen, don't smile, keep scoring goals. I'll be well happy.
Frank, just on Haller, quickly, that you mentioned that he's probably more suited to a 2 or 3, and he's obviously used to that, having played in a 3 at Frankfurt. And the debate is, should Moyes tweak the system, a system that's working now, to try and fit, try and fit Antonio and Haller in the same 11? Can you see that happening? Can you see it working?
Well, I can see it working in certain games, but I think, you've got a defence there that's, I think they're doing pretty good. You can tell it's no coincidence since Stuart Pearce come in that the defence has been working. Nolan's a midfield player and great, and he'll be telling the midfield player working with them and the strikers. He can work them. But Stuart come in. David Moyes was a centre half. Not a very good one, but he was a centre half. Tell me that. He's came in, and they two will be working in defence. And you can see that they've been worked because they know where each other is, and whereas before they were all over the place. I've got to be honest with you. So, and when someone gets injured, the other guy's coming in and just starting again because they're working all the defenders, and it's good to watch. To be honest with you, But I was very sceptical at the start of the season. I didn't know where they get after the first game. I didn't know where any points were coming from. But typical West Ham. They've stood up to the challenge and they've got the points with it, and they've scraped through when you expect them to get a few goals. But it makes a change for last season, because last season they'd be getting beaten in games. So they're scraping through when you think Fulham, we've got a couple of goals off Fulham, their defence is hopeless. And they didn't do it, but still got a 1-0. And then it's Sheffield, and it's always hard to go away, especially when someone's not winning 8 games or something like Sheffield had. So that was hard. That was a hard place to go, and the boys buckled down, and you can see them all. I like all that when everyone's smiling in the park. When you're smiling on the park, no matter what job you've got, if you're enjoying it, you're going to do it better. So here's hoping for more smiles.
100%, Frank. And what have you actually made of the overall job that Moyes has done? Because he's obviously come in and like you say, everyone's smiling, happy. The only person who's not Haller, apparently. But, there's some smiles on the faces. He's got us playing some good, solid football. So what have you actually made of him? Because he got a lot of stick.
I know, David, I didn't think he should have been sacked the last time because he'd done the job he got brought in to do. And he kept him up. And it was a shame, I thought he'd have makings of a good team. I think he's got to get a chance. He's got to get 2 or 3 transfer windows. I don't know if it was him. I wouldn't know if it was him that brought Haller in if he was to do with that. I don't know, because he's got no bad eye for a player. He brought Bowen and Soucek and the boy at right back, Corville. I can't remember how to pronounce it. But I think he brought all them in. So that's his players. And he can see a bargain for the champion. So, I just think, I don't think he would have spent 40 million on Haller. I don't think that was his.
He did bring Jordan. Yeah. He did bring Jordan Hugill though, Frank, didn't he?
Oh God, yeah, don't.
Frank, how well
He's a good player somewhere else.
Yeah, no, he went on and banged a few at QPR, didn't he? But
Yeah.
just the Premier League a bit too much. How well do you know David Moyes? Frank, did you sort of come across him too much in your career or anything?
Nah, I seen him. I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago on the phone when he was not well. I gave him a phone. So, the biggest surprise he had was because I got his number.
Yeah.
Nah, I just want to wish him all the best and see how he was. So yeah, he's in good spirits. So very happy with him at the moment.
Good stuff. What do you make of Jarrod Bowen? I think he's got loads of energy all the time, shuts people down, and he's full of running. I felt, especially at the weekend, there's been rumours about his decision making and sort of wastefulness beforehand. Certainly at the weekend, I was quite frustrated on a couple of occasions where, the chances where he should have passed to Haller or laid Haller in and he took a shot, or the other times where he should have had a shot and he's tried the pass. It's just, is that something you think will come, or do you think I'm just talking rubbish?
I think it'll come. I think he's done very well since he came in, to be honest with you. But he's got, I don't know about the boy Benrahma. Can he play in the right as well as the left? I don't know.
I think he's more of that number 10 sort of role, I think. But I guess
he's the left as well. He prefers the left.
He could change that, because I think it's not going to be long. Fornals is doing all right, but he's got somebody, creeping up behind him that's wanting a first team game. And I think the boy, if he gets in, it'll be hard for the manager to leave him out. And that's what competition's all about. And that's what I was saying about Haller with Antonio. He's been out of the game for a little bit now. And all of a sudden you're thinking, this is my chance. And I don't think he's took it. I know he scored. I don't think he took his chance the way he should have. Which is disappointing, because he's definitely got touch, and and he's got something there that he just needs to do more of it, I think.
Frank, obviously West Ham being 8th in the Premier League now, I know we've all got nosebleeds, not used to being this high in the Premier League at this stage of the season. Yeah, I mean, obviously we've already established that it's been a bit of a surprise this start of the season, given the fixtures we've had. But do you think that this is we're beginning to see the West Ham that we kind of all were hoping and kind of expect to see under David Moyes? And do you reckon we can push on and establish ourselves in at least the top 10, maybe even beyond that?
I think so. I think definitely. But the problem, the good thing for these boys coming through the Championship, that they might, with no crowd, it might suit them better. I feel that there's a lot of players showing their proper talents now, not just in West Ham, but all around the country, because there's no fans. That they tend to be trying things that they wouldn't try when there's crowds there, which is great. They should be trying it when there's crowds there as well. They should have the confidence to do that. I've got nothing against that. It doesn't come off. I think it's wonderful that the boys are trying things, and hopefully when the crowds come back in, they're going to see a well-drilled West Ham team. Because it's all right sitting watching it on telly. You get there in the atmosphere, the adrenaline goes when you're a player, and that's what that spurs you on. It might just give them that. The boys are doing all right at the moment, but they might play a lot better when the fans are in, when they've got that adrenaline going in. And here's hoping because I just hope they don't get too many injuries. I don't know if they've got too deep a squad that could light for light come in, because the first team's doing very well. As I say, the only thing I would change, and I think up to now, I don't know, you guys might know how long Antonio's going to be out. But I would imagine when he comes, he'll be back in. He'll not be back in right away, trust me.
Well, Frank, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that about the Sebastien Haller, Michail Antonio situation. Obviously, Aston Villa next up on the Monday night football for West Ham next week. So we've got 8 days to rest up, which is an opportunity not many Premier League teams are getting at the moment. Certainly the ones who are in Europe this week. Not the same for Villa. They've got a decent rest, of course, as well. But we asked, as we do every week, the We Are West Ham listeners earlier, and we put a poll out on Twitter. hundreds of votes came back in from our listeners, and it was a simple one. We've asked it before, but we have to ask it again, given Haller's goal at the weekend. We said, if both Antonio and Haller are fit for the game against Aston Villa, who would you start? Haller, Antonio, or both? And very rarely on the We Are West Ham polls is it so evenly split. 34% say Sebastien Haller, just 30 saying Mikel Antonio. Well, 36% want to see both up front. I feel a little bit uncomfortable about both. You obviously played in that partnership, but the whole system has to be built around two up front. And I think the five at the back that has been the cornerstone for all that we've done good so far this season. What do you make of sort of those results there and that situation as a whole on Monday if Antonio's fit?
5-3-2, something like work out that way, you know. I don't know the fullbacks. You've got the fullbacks that want to go forward, and it looks like the two boys, you know, their engine is very good. You know, it looks like they're up and down that pitch. There's ways you could tweak that. You know, I definitely think. I don't know if he'll play two. I don't know if he's. There'll be times when he does that, but you know, it'd be wonderful if you could get the two of them into that team. You know, I don't know who would drop out. But I think it's what. Listen, I didn't think we'd get these points up to now, so I'm delighted with it. And if it's one up front, then I would play Antonio if he's fit. See, we don't see him every day. The manager will see him training every day, and if he's fit and he thinks, like, give me an hour, because when you're playing up front, sometimes you need energy and you need to put people under pressure. You know. Especially at Villa, because they're going to come. They'll definitely get talent. So the midfield's going to be. That's where the game's going to be won. And you've got to do things about that midfield. You've got to it's all right us going forward. You've got to stop them, and they've got some talented players. So I don't know how David will work it. I think he'll only play one. I really do think he'll play one up front. Might be wrong. I might be surprised. And. David Moyes might play too, but for this game, I think, you know, because they get beat with Brighton, was it? I think they get beat last week with Brighton, didn't they?
Yeah, Brighton, yeah.
They were hopeless, but hopefully they continue that. hopefully they've got a bug or something. Let me go and take it from me. You know, it'd be nice.
Frank, you mentioned.
I think to answer the poll is, I think I would play Antonio if he's fit.
Yeah. Frank, you mentioned the two in the middle there, Soucek and Declan Rice. And do you think that as much as that's one of our strengths away from home, and particularly against other teams who maybe sit a bit deep and we can counter-attack and fly through the middle and fly out wide there, but do you think it could be something which is actually a bit of a hindrance for us at home? Because against Fulham, we saw that those two struggled to sort of dictate the tempo. They don't really have the creativity of a 10, and the people in front of them, we're just looking to counter, and we sort of ran out of ideas very quickly in that game. Do you think that that's an area of the pitch that we...
How many times has he played? How many, you guys have seen him, how many times has he played with the three at the back? Is that constantly? Because it looks like...
After Newcastle, wasn't it?
Game,
yeah. After Newcastle, he changed it because that was such a shambles.
Yeah, well, it's a shambles. But I think, you know, if you get... Me, I like three in the midfield, especially against Villa. I play three right in the middle in midfield, Soucek, Rice, and another. You know, and it could be Benrahma to help the striker. You know, I don't know. I don't know why you would spend that money and not give the boy a chance and not play him. You know, he looks a talent. So, you know, and he gave Bowen a chance. He gave him a run of games, and he came through. So I think he'll give Benrahma a chance at some point. Whether it's this game or not, I don't know.
Yeah, that's I think certainly after the last two games where Fornals and Bowen showed that they're not perfect, I think Benrahma will certainly get a chance. Frank, before we move on and ask you, obviously it'd be rude of us criminal of us not to ask you about your career while you're here. But before we do that, just give us a quick score prediction for Villa, and I'll get one off the lads as well before we move on.
2-1.
2-1 to West Ham. Jonesy?
I'm going to go 3-1 West Ham.
3-1, very confident. Thomas?
Hat-trick of 1-0s. Hat-trick. Haller, go on,
Yeah.
he's going to back.
Oh, God.
Sebastien Haller with a 1-0. You know what, Tom? I'm going to stick with you on that. I think it won't be as open as people think. I think Villa will be quite happy if they manage to get a point. So yeah, I'm going to back you on that, Tom, and I'll go 1-0 as well. Frank, while we've got you as always, she get asked about the boys of 86 all the time and there is a reason for that, because you are held up as an absolute legend among all West Ham fans, even those of us, as you already mentioned, who might not have been young enough to see you play in person. I've had more than enough tales and anecdotes from my dad to know quite how much you mean to all the supporters. You managed to hit it off. We had Tony Cottee on a couple of weeks ago. Tony Gale was with us as well in recent times. And we meant
to talk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we didn't have much time. But we're talking about Haller and Antonio and partnerships and all that. What you had with Tony, you hit it off instantly in that 85-86 season. 46 league goals between you. West Ham haven't really seen a partnership like it since. A couple have come close, but nothing the same. What is it about that? Because as much as the training pitch, do you just find someone in your career every now and then, or just what is it that happened there? Because it's just there's only so much you can do on the training ground. There's just some unseen magic as well.
I'm a great believer. Good players can play with anyone. Don't even. Internet connection is unstable. Is that me? I'm unstable.
Nah, yeah.
No, Tony was a good player. It was Tony by far the most outright striker I've ever played with. His whole vision is just scoring goals. That's all he wanted. And when we came in, the manager was so far ahead of his time. John Lyall. These things that the rotations they're doing now. The high press and all that. We'd done that in the 80s. We'd done that way back. I was a trigger when I went. Everyone followed in. And, we got lots of goals off that, because there's not many Julian Dicks, left backs or that. We could take the ball off them and score. So it was quite good. It was, and Tony bought into that. After a few games, we had a meeting and Tony, we told Tony he's got to move, can't just poach. So, and he bought into it, and all of a sudden the two of us went in this incredible. After the meeting, we went on a run, 18 games, I think it was, unbeaten, which for West Ham's, it was great because I've never had so much drink bought for me every time I went out. I didn't spend a penny. It was great. And for a joke, that was quite good. But it was great to hear the stories. Everyone says that, West Ham's like Christmas cards that come down 3 days after Christmas and all that kind of stuff. They'd be down the league. And it was great. We were there right to the end, right to the final game of the season. So it was great for the fans, but I just wish we'd won it, but it was one of them, and I'm going to be honest with you. I know everyone says the table, the winner's always the best team. Liverpool were the best team. We were the best team that year. And I think that the weather beat us. We didn't play for 6 weeks. And then we had to play Saturday, Mondays and Wednesdays for about 5 weeks. And that's what it makes me laugh, all these players nowadays. They're saying they're tired and all that kind of nonsense. And I'm going, all we wanted to do was play football. And we only had a squad of 14 or 15. So, they've got 2 positions at each team now. So I don't get all this. But it was wonderful. And as I said earlier, if you're enjoying it, and you could see that we were really enjoying ourselves. We're having a great time, and all the lads were so close. And we still are. We're very, very close. So that shows you. It's normally teams that win. I'm close with the Celtic boys that won the double and all that. Normally it's teams that win, but the guys from '86 season was very special to me. So we're very close as a unit. So, and it's good fun. When we meet up, it's as if we've not left the dressing room. We're little boys again, and Gailey takes over basically.
Frank, you mentioned John Lyall there, and he was well before his time as a manager. And I read earlier today that your decision to come back to West Ham and instantly turn down Arsenal was not just for your lovely club, but also to play for John Lyall again. is that, you know, was he literally that much of a pull as a manager? Because obviously everyone knows how much of a legend he was.
Yeah, but the chance to go to Arsenal, so they were going to win the league. West Ham, as John said in his words, he says, we're getting relegated, even you can't do anything about it, but I want you to lead, get us back up. And I says, yeah, no problem, I can do that. So I knew they were getting relegated. You know, there's a chance that we could have stayed up, so I believed in that chance. And we beat Villa, believe it or not, away in the first game. Paulin scored, but, you know, my first game back, it was good. You know, unfortunately, West Ham went in a different direction. They sacked the manager. He should have been upstairs, and Billy Bonds and people like that should have took over. Instead, they got this idiot in, like Louis McCarry, who was hopeless, you know, and he haunted me, to be honest with you guys. I went to Celtic, mate, and he came to Celtic as well. So
he must have liked you, Frank.
Oh, my career, listen, we basically got him sacked at West Ham because the way he wanted to play football was not West Ham. It was nothing to do with anything that we'd ever been taught. You know, we got the ball down and played, and he just wanted it launched. And I'm looking at Tony. I'm going, we're not the biggest in the strikers. You know, we're not Haller. You know, and it was one of them. It was just because Lugo was in goal, and he had a really good kick. But that was great when we're get on the break, and I could outpace most of them, but not every time, you know. Sometimes Gailey and Alvin wanted the ball, you know, and it was fine in Lugo for rolling the ball out, you know. It was really that bad, and so the senior players spoke to the chairman, got rid of him, which was great because none of us liked him, you know. I liked him as a guy. He was my hero growing up, you know. He was a wonderful football player. As a manager, he was just hopeless. You know, he was honestly, that's me being nice about the guy.
It's pretty polite of you.
He wanted me again, so that was me. He moved me out. He left me out of the team. Celtic were going to play in Mark Hughes' testimonial, and he left me out of the team. And he took a player that had nothing to do with Celtic. He'd met him in the bookies or something, and he took this guy, played with Barty. This was a pal of mine. He had nothing to do with Celtic. He took him to Old Trafford and played, left me in Glasgow. He's a horrible person.
Frank, in your second spell at West Ham, obviously we sadly got relegated, and you had that terrible leg break injury. And how hard was that, firstly in your career and coming back to West Ham? Obviously you had massive high hopes, and for it not to quite go the way you thought. How was that to get over as a path in your career?
It was hard. It would have been a lot easier, to be honest with you guys. As I say, if Lou wasn't there, it would have been a lot easier. But Lou, you know, he wanted me to stay in Stoke. He wanted me to stay there. You know, the guy says I'll never walk properly again at the hospital. So I told him, you know, where to go. And I thought, somebody's going to finish my career. I said, I want somebody in London, and I want a decent surgeon. So I had to get Ray Stewart was with me, and phoned the physio, and the coach came and picked us up, you know, the bus. And they strapped my leg and took me to Rodings Hospital down in London, down at Essex, I think it was. And I was in there. I got in there about, I don't know, 12 o'clock or something. And the surgeon came to see me about 1:30, and he says, I'll fix it. And I'm saying, the guy in Stoke says, I'll not be able to walk properly. He says, the guy in Stoke that works in accident and emergency, he said, did nothing to do with injuries like that. He would have just strapped me up and sent me on the way. So that's how bad Louis McCarry was, you know. And he came in to see me, and I got the okay to start training, lads. I would have been back before Christmas. I thought I was going to be back before Christmas, and I got the okay to start back training. Christmas Day, or Christmas Eve, I got the okay, and Louis McCarry got me in on Christmas Day and gave me a 4-mile road run. I hadn't trained since August. I hadn't done anything since August. And he gave me a 4-mile road run. My ankle just blew up again. So, you know, what can I say?
Not good stuff.
There's a
Frank,
reason why I don't like him.
Yeah. I'll be honest, Frank. It does come through.
Yeah, does it?
Frank,
I'd have been back for January or February if it wasn't for that. You know, once I got my fitness back, I would have been ready. But you don't give somebody and it was a road run. It wasn't even on the grass.
Yeah. Not good. Frank, before we let you go, we've kept you for longer than we said we would already. It's absolutely brilliant having you on the podcast. But I know you've got a million and one, I'm sure. But can you just give us your funniest story off the top of your head that's broadcastable?
Oh God, off the top of my head. No, I can't really. No. No.
Even that aren't broadcastable.
I'm finding it hard, yeah. Nah, it was. Listen, we always.
Did you know you were part of something special at the time, though?
86, yeah. You know, it was very good. We did know with some. We knew we had a good team, but we didn't have it right the first couple of games. And you know, as I say, we had the meeting, and because we knew there was something about it, you know. And Alan Davies, he was the best player I probably played with, and he was out injured for 2 years. I mean, my God, what kind of player was he before he got injured? So yeah, it was just that I just loved everything about, you know, everything about London. I loved everything about West Ham. John Lyall was like my dad, really. And the best thing about John Lyall was, everyone says he's a lovely guy, but you don't cross him. You know, I'll give a quick example, what John Lyall's like. I was playing with Scotland, and then Saturday we were playing. All my mates came down. I played with Scotland in midweek. All my mates came down to London the weekend, and we all went out. And normally on a Monday, if my mates come down from Glasgow, I'm usually hungover on a Monday. So I normally phone in, and you get Tony Cottee or, you know, Ronnie Boyce or something, Mick McAvennie, or the physio Rob Jenkins, to say, look, not well, tell the gaffer I'm not going to be in. Yeah, no problem. And but this time I phoned up. I've got bodies all over my house. And my flat is a flat I had in Brentwood. And anyway, I phoned in, and it was John that answered the phone. And I thought, oh my God. So I put the voice on. I'm going, oh, John, not well. And he's going, I don't sound too clever, son. I'm like, no, I'm not feeling. I don't know what it is. Maybe an excitement from midweeks going for Scotland and all that noise. Yeah. He says, but you've got BBC, ITV cameras, got big lorries here for an interview. They're up doing interviews with you today. And I says, oh, John, I can't deal with it. Can you deal with it? No problem, son. So I'm by bed. I swear to guys, 40 minutes later, ding, ding, ding. I heard all this noise. I've looked out the window. He sent all the trucks up to my house. John had sent all the lorries, BBC, ITV, even STV cameras were coming up. This little flat in Brentwood, there was lorries out the street in the car park. It was incredible. I'm hoovering up people from my living room. I'm going, get in the bedroom. I'm shoving everyone in the bed. Only the wee 2-bedroom flat. And they're all in the bedrooms, and I'm trying to do an interview in the living room. It was incredible. That was dear old John Lyall. Brilliant.
What a story. What a man.
He asked me to deal with it, so I dealt with it, son. I said, yeah, brilliant.
Wonderful times. Frank, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really do appreciate you joining us, but wonderful stories. Exactly, absolutely, yeah. And it's wonderful to hear, I think, for us lot certainly, and everyone listening at home, the unity that you and the boys have still got. It's been a pleasure having you on this week, Frank. We hope to have you on again as the season progresses, as we're talking about our hopeful road to the Champions League. But stay with us. That was Frank McAvennie, legend from the Boys of 86, and stay with us because it's the Betway Charity Bets next. Well, what a guest. Frank McAvennie there, West Ham legend, icon of the Boys of 86 season. And what a story that is about waking up in his flat, surrounded by him and his hungover mates, and having 3 TV lorries turning up at his front door to chat to him about football. Absolutely great stuff from Frank there, lads. And yeah, Mr. McAvennie, some quiet optimism as well for Monday night's game against Villa, him going for the 2-1 win. James, are you saying 3-1, 1-0 each for me and Tom? So optimistic that the Hammers are going to get it over the line again. We'll speak to TV presenter and Aston Villa fan Tim Wildwood next to get his view on the opposition view, of course. But first of all, It's the Betway charity bet section. And I don't know about you two, but I'm getting a little bit disgruntled with this part of the show now. Me and Jones and Tom, for any of you new listeners at home who don't know what the Betway charity bet section is, Betway are giving us £50 each per West Ham game to have a bet on the game, and any winnings we get from those bets go to 3 West Ham charities that me and the lads are playing for. I'm playing for Bobby Moore Fund, James for the DT38, Dylan Tom Beatty's Foundation, and Tom for Isla's Fight. We've got a few £100 on the board already. Betway have kindly agreed to double whatever we win at the end of the season, so it's going okay, but we were agonisingly close again this week to getting money on the board. I went super cagey. I went West Ham to win or draw under 3.5 goals in each team to get at least one card. And I got the first 2 bits, obviously, and somehow there was 0 bookings in a game of football. I mean, if you're a Sheffield United fan and you haven't won for a million years or however long it was, you'd want at least to show a bit of fight, wouldn't you? And pick up a yellow or 2. Excuse me, but I thought Ogbonna, he was good for one. I thought surely he loves a bit of needle against Ollie McBurney up front. 1 card each. I think the odds were 7-4. And somehow I still haven't pulled that in. Obviously got the first 2 elements. Jonesy, you had Fornals to score over 1.5 goals and over 2.5 cards. So all 3 of your elements lost. Tom, you had Jarrod Bowen to score over 2.5 cards and over 8.5 corners. I'm led to believe there was only 8 corners in the game, so not a single element of yours either. Apparently, lads, I don't know. I thought I was. I didn't realise I was the only one that was close. Tom, despairing for you because you're still yet to win an actual bet for Isla's Fight this season.
Yeah, it's a bit of a headbanger at the minute. Obviously, I'll keep harking on, but that Leicester one, which would have brought in quite a heavy amount of money actually for both me and Jonesy, was chalked off by VAR. So if there's any reason to hate. And last week, I'm trying to go a bit more conservative, look into it a bit more, but it's just not dropping. Like you say, to not get a booking in the West Ham Sheffield United game is just ridiculous. Like, just stupid. Where are they at? Where are these crunching tackles from Aaron Cresswell we used to see? He's gone all foreign. He's gone nice fancy pansy, hasn't he? Someone do that for me.
Too many lessons off half a massive argument. That's the problem. Jonesy, you've gone with Bowen to score again. The card's not even close. No, sorry, you went with Fornals to score. Over 1.5 goals, didn't come in. No cards either. Just what's going on?
Yeah, I'm kicking myself a little bit because I did in my head think Haller would be a good shout, but I went for Fornals purely for the odds, thinking it might just bump the odds up a little bit if I had Fornals as a goal scorer, and but even if I had Haller, I still wouldn't have won the bet. So it doesn't really make much difference. But it's getting a little bit frustrating. It's been 4 weeks now since a win. I think it's 4 or 5 weeks. So getting a little bit frustrated. Eager to get some more money up on the board now.
Absolutely. Well, look, I don't know if it's worth saying this bit or not, but for our Aston Villa bets this week, as you can with all of these bets that me and the lads mention every week, you can actually go onto the Betway website and app to go in the pre-built bets section and scroll down there, and you'll find the We Are West Ham podcast bets with mine, Tom's and James's name against them, and you can put your own money on those charity bets if you like. This week I've gone, well, when I put it this way, when I put it in the WhatsApp group earlier on to Chad from Betway to let him know what our selections were ahead of next Monday's game, James Jones just replied with 3 cry laughing emojis. I just want to win some money. So I've gone West Ham double chance, less than 5.5 total goals and less than 15.5 corners in the game. Bearing in mind, we do have to pick 3 selections for these Betway bets. So I can't see it being a high scorer. Again, I think it'll be similar pattern to last week. I do think we'll get something out of the game. And the less than 15.5 corners, they're just so unpredictable these days that I thought I'd go nice and safe. The odds will be rubbish, but I just want to get a few more quid in the bag for the Bobby Moore Fund if possible. So all I'm hoping I really need is a West Ham win or draw out of that. Jonesy, what have you gone for this week?
West Ham to win or draw, both teams to score, and Tomas Soucek to bag a goal as well. I think he loves a home goal. Nicks the winner against Fulham, and missed that absolute sitter, didn't he, at Bramall Lane at the weekend from that Haller header. I mean, just still can't believe he tried it with his right foot, because he heeled it about 10 yards wide from 3 yards out. Absolutely mental. But he'll want to put that right, won't he? And and I don't think we'll get beat, but it'll be a tight game. And Villa obviously got Ollie Watkins up front, so they're going to be dangerous going forward, even without Ross Barkley in midfield. So I fancy them to score, but I do fancy us to avoid defeat. So yeah. Soucek's in there just to bump the odds up a little bit, because I'm not going to play as safe as you, mate.
No. Okay, well, we'll see what happens next week. When West Ham win, but they win 7-4 and my less than 5.5 total goals looks silly then. Thomas, what have you gone with?
I've gone both teams to score, West Ham to win, and over 8.5 corners. I mean, the corners have been my kryptonite the last few weeks, but I've given them one more chance to help me out. And then, I think, as much as I said, I think it'll be 1-0 a few times on the show today. You never know, and I think they might hurt us on the break, but I think one of the sides will win this game. I think it'll be quite an open game. Both sides have nothing to lose and go for it, I guess, in terms of where we are in the league and looking to push on. So I expect us to be the side to be to the ones who nick it, really, and just fingers crossed we get something in, because it's long overdue for me now.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Well, like I said, as a reminder, you can go, if you like the sound of those bets, you can go on the Betway app and website under pre-built bets and have those. And fingers crossed for some money for the West Ham charity bets after Villa's game on Monday night. But stay with us, because we'll be discussing all of those selections and whether we've got any chance with Tim Wildwood, TV presenter and massive Aston Villa fan, next. So the Betway charity bets there, me and the boys absolutely desperate to win some cash for our West Ham charities. It's been a while and we were so close last week, but fingers crossed we can do it this week against Aston Villa. And I'm delighted to say that joining us to discuss that Aston Villa game Monday night at the London Stadium for our Opposition View segment is TV presenter and massive Villa fan, Tim Wildwood. Tim, thanks very much for joining us. Villa are 7th, West Ham are 8th. You're just a point ahead of us. Everyone seems to think you've had an outstanding season so far. We are getting some plaudits, but a little bit more under the radar. First of all, what have you made of Villa's start this season? Obviously, both teams in that end of season relegation decider last year. We just about escaped it. You managed to do it at the London Stadium, and now all of a sudden,
yeah, I was going to say.
I know. Look at both of us,
mate. Yeah, what a turnaround! It's one of them, isn't it? Do you know what's funny to hear you say that? Then, like exactly like we've, according to everybody else, we're having an amazing season, and yet you're a point behind us right there. And yet you're right. You're getting there's a few bits, but certainly no one's shouting about West Ham the same way, are they? But I think it's basically because we ended up last year with quite a team of misfits, didn't we? And properly scraped it, properly scraped it. So I think that's probably why but this season, weird season, man. I mean, I'm sure you boys have probably been talking about lack of fans and stuff, but I think for the Villa, it's just been we've just taken some big scalps, and that's all it's been. We've lost against the rubbish teams, but we've managed to win against the big teams, and I think that's why everybody's perhaps showering us in glory.
I hope that holds for next week.
Yeah. Well, mate, it'll be a draw, won't it? We always seem to draw, don't we? I can't remember what we was last time. Was it
was 1-1 last week, wasn't it?
Park.
Last season.
Yeah.
So
it was 0-0 and 1-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tim, I think the one thing that I think from my point of view, in my head, you build it up, don't you, as a football fan, over a long period of time. I've built it up that I quite like playing against Villa. I feel like in my head we always sort of beat them and always do well. I don't know whether that's necessarily true or not, but I was, especially at home, I've obviously had a season ticket for a long time. I seem to remember doing well against them quite a lot. Is there that feeling among Villa fans that West Ham are somewhat of a bogey team, or not particularly? Am I just, again, talking nonsense?
So Yeah, exactly. So all my family are Villa fans. We're from North Birmingham, so we're all kind of Villa fans here. But my uncle, believe it or not, is a West Ham fan, and he's a season ticket holder. And it is always that you're our bogey team a little bit, and you do always put in a bit of a performance against us, don't you?
I'm pleased to hear that, because I thought I was just rambling on and going, no, Will. People love playing West Ham. What are you talking about?
Yeah. No, you do. You always
Tim.
step up and do well against us. From what I remember, it's never a walkover. I'm trying to think. I genuinely can't. Yeah, I think was it James just said then? Was it last year 0-0 and 1-1?
Yeah, I was at the game at Villa Park
Yeah.
last season as well, and you were by far the better team, and it was a 0-0. You definitely should have won. We were lucky to get a point there. But Tom, sorry, carry on.
Just going to say, Tim, we can't speak about Villa and not talk about Jack Grealish. I think that's pretty much goes hand in hand at the minute. But I watched him on the weekend against Brighton, and obviously he's coming off the back of being unbelievable hype, and rightly so. He's a brilliant footballer. But is there a sense of worry in the Villa fans' ranks that maybe all this pressure and all this attention could actually impact him? Because he looked tired. He looked a bit emotionally drained last 20 minutes. He really did. And
he did, yeah.
Well, obviously you must be proud. But...
And then Barkley's injured, so Barkley's out. Well, I read today Barkley's out for 2 weeks, and so we moved Jack from where he's been most dangerous. We moved him into the middle, and he was definitely less effective, I think, there. And so he's got that pressure. He's got that pressure to kind of fill Ross's shoes a little bit now, carry the team anyway, plus all the plaudits and stuff. And he has said, he's come out and he said he loves it and he thrives on the pressure, but I don't know, you've got to think, haven't you? Like, can you really? Can you really thrive on that
It's a lot.
pressure? Carry a team, you know, he does carry the team at times.
It feels less like that this season, Tim. The last season, it felt like it was Jack Grealish FC against everyone else.
Give him the ball, save the game for us.
Yeah. But
Absolutely.
you seem like Ollie Watkins, I think, is a brilliant sign, and you just seem a little bit more compact and like a proper football, like 11 players rather than just 1 and 10 blokes.
Well, we had, Trezeguet last year wasn't a mate, he had some good performances, but this year he's really seems to be putting a shift in, so he's playing well. The back four, apart from obviously last week at Brighton, but we've had some really decent clean sheets. Martinez has come in, new goalkeeper. He's hit the ground running. He's playing really well. So you're right. We definitely have more of 11 players playing. But it was funny against Brighton. Classic Villa fan. That niggling kind of, we're going to bloody stuff this now, and it starts to creep in. But maybe we're just a bit tired. Yeah, you're right. Maybe we just needed a bit more training ground time. Get over the international break and just kind of get a bit of focus again. I reckon maybe.
Tim, we'll just mention there with Ollie Watkins being a great signing. Obviously, we were linked with him quite heavily, and then he just rocked up at the wrong club wearing claret and blue, in my eyes.
The wrong claret and blue.
That's it. But do you think that is like talking about Jack Grealish carrying teams, having a confident striker that knows where the back of the net is? I mean, I would say he's probably the best and most consistent striker at Villa had probably since Benteke, maybe Agbonlahor.
And the Villa WhatsApp group's been saying that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
But having that striker there really strengthens your ability to hit, like, improve in the Premier League. Given the last few years you've struggled to get out the Championship. You had Tammy Abraham on loan, struggled last year without him, and now you've got someone that can actually score the goals.
Absolutely, yeah, couldn't agree more. I think we, if you could win the transfer window, I think it's safe to say Villa won the transfer window. We just some brilliant signings, and actually, there was a bit of doubt about Ollie Watkins coming in, but again, man, he's brilliant. He's so brilliant and he's so strong. He looks scrawny and he's not. He's been a quality signing for us. A lot of money considering from a Championship team, but love him. You're right. He's got a bit of that kind of Benteke folklore about him. He's come in and all of a sudden we've got a good striker, and it's nice that he's got that. Even when he didn't score for a game or two, he's still trying. He's still having popping shots off, and even though they're not going in, it's nice to see that confidence. Just when you've got a young striker that's good, and yeah, love it. It's exciting.
Someone who's not letting a couple of bad games affect his confidence too much.
Yeah.
I do. I think there's certainly a lot of teams in the Prem looking at Ollie Watkins with envious eyes. Tim, throw into the game on Monday night, obviously.
Yeah.
What sort of a game are you expecting? Are you expecting it to play out? Because I was saying after, that result against Brighton, it's classic, isn't it? Especially as you've had a good season. Fans of clubs the size of West Ham and Villa always go, oh, you should be beating Brighton, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We've all heard it. But teams like that win games in a season here or there, don't they? And that does happen. But how do you see it going on Monday night? Because I've got half a feeling that you wouldn't be too disappointed with a draw, and that it might be a bit of a cagey game.
I've just told the lads on the Villa chat on my WhatsApp group that I'm coming on to chat to you boys, and I was like, what, predictions, and they're all like, we're gonna win, we're definitely gonna win. So if I go against them now, they're gonna say, in fact, another one's just come in. Here you go. Do you want to hear what live from the chat?
Live here, yeah.
Here we go. With Barkley, really fancied the win. Without, probably a draw. And that's from Roy, and Roy knows what he's talking about.
That's from Roy.
Cannot see Traore starting. Barkley's definitely out for 2 games. Oh no, Chiz is saying I think we can still beat West Ham. And Dave's saying we can still beat West Ham as well. So
Dave
do you know what? I hate to say this, and I hate people that say this, but I'd take a draw now. I think we need a point. We need a good performance again. One of them exciting performances where we play some good football. We try and we maybe get a goal, but just not lose.
Tom, what do you think of? I mean, obviously, great insight live from Birmingham from Dave and Chiz there. But what do you make of that, mate? Would you be disappointed at the end if as Tim says, that we end up with a draw at the end of it? Because they have been good, Villa, this season, haven't they? But without those big name players in there, you kind of think they're there for the taking, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, obviously, like Tim just said, they've improved. You've improved massively this season. Of course you have, but so have we. And I think there's no reason to suggest on paper we're a better side. For me, obviously, our bias, there's very little between the two sides, but I'd always fancy us. I think we've got a little bit more than them. We've got more experience in the league. It's not our first rodeo, and they're missing some of their big players. So I think I'd like to say I fancy us going into the weekend's game, but at the end of the day, I think we take a point at the same time as well. I wouldn't be heartbroken because they've had a good start. They're a good side, and it will just keep building momentum for us. And they can hurt you. They seriously can. Watkins on the break will be a massive threat, and Jack Grealish always. So I think it could be one of those games which really hangs on a knife edge for a majority of it, and type of game where first goal could actually see that home.
Absolutely. Well, me and you have gone for 1-0 in our score predictions. James Jones being far more bolshy, going for a 3-1. But West Ham legend Frank McAvennie said 2-1 as well. So it's confident this side. Tim, I don't know if you've got any live score predictions from Big Dave and Big Chiz.
Do you want to know what Uncle Ron has just come in with? Uncle Ron, he's gone 3-1 Villa. Watkins, Grealish, and Harahan to score. So there you go.
Harahan, blimey. Yeah. I mean, that's, again, you can't beat this, James, can you, really, from Uncle Ron there?
Uncle Ron.
He's got it the wrong way round. He's got it
the wrong way round.
The wrong way round, yeah.
The wrong way round.
No, I think this is a We Are West Ham podcast first, though, Tim. Live score predictions from not only the opposition view guest, but also his Aston Villa or any team.
Half of the whole end.
Half the whole end, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Tim, now we've heard from a couple of your family members and most of your mates. What's your score prediction for Monday night?
I'm gonna go 1-1.
1-1.
Ollie Watkins to put one in for the Villa.
So I think James Jones, you've been the least sensible of all the guesses we've had so far on the We Are West Ham podcast, and that includes Uncle Ron, Dave, and Chiz.
Just confident. That's what 2 wins does for you. 2 wins, 2 clean sheets. You just get ahead of ourselves.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. You and all the gang. We'll be sure to get Uncle Ron. I mean, what a belter of a name that is. What a belter. We'll be sure sure to get the numbers of all the lads off of you afterwards. But we really appreciate you coming on. That's Tim Warwood, TV presenter and big Aston Villa fan, there for the opposition view ahead of West Ham v Villa next Monday night at the London Stadium. But stay with us, because next up, James Jones is the quizmaster for Name That Game. You are still listening to the We Are West Ham podcast, and that was Tim Warwood, TV presenter and Aston Villa fan, giving us his prediction. 1-1, Tim went for them for the game next Monday night at the London Stadium. Just absolutely buzzing. Tom, I don't know about you, to hear from Uncle Ron. What a legend.
What a legend, mate. He's clearly seen a bit. He's been around the block. It's not his first rodeo or something like that. He came in at the right moment. He knows the cameras. He knows where everything is. Uncle Ron strikes again.
Absolutely. We'll do our level best to get Uncle Ron on later in the season. Jonesy, you said it in the little break there. Why can't all opposition view guests be like Tim? Live updates from his WhatsApp group.
Yeah, we need more of that, don't we? We need. We should bring that in to get all our mates involved as well. Forget the opposition view. Might make it a little bit more exciting. But yeah, no, it was great op-overview guest, wasn't he?
Absolutely. Well, that's what you get, obviously, when you get a TV presenter on board. But enough of that. We are back to, of course, Name That Game. James Jones, you are quizmaster this week. It's Tom Edwards up next week. And somehow you're even further ahead, Jonesy, than you were last week. James Jones on 18 points, Tom Edwards on 12, and me now bottom of the leaderboard with just 11 points. Not good at all. But Jonesy, have you got a big one for us this week?
Got a whopper, an absolute whopper. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I can't even remember. I'd normally write it down, but I can't even remember what last week's one was.
Tom,
last week's one.
Yeah, what was last week's?
Can't remember what it was.
I can't even remember it.
It was obviously too riveting. I know we had Leeds the week before.
It was 0-0 Bristol City.
It was that 0-0, wasn't it? Bristol City.
0-0 Bristol City. That's why I couldn't remember it. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, couple of bonus points in there for you two last week. But Jonesy, over to you this week. I've got 2 weeks to put some points on the board, and I want to get going as quickly as possible. So let's have it.
Okay, so I've actually just changed my obscure fact at the very, very last minute. I've literally just hastily Googled the match report for this game to find.
Is that allowed?
I was arming and ahhing over which one to use, and I've just read the one I was going to use and thought, no, that's a bit of a giveaway, that. So here's the obscure facts, the new obscure fact, which is in this game, it was just the 3rd time in Premier League history West Ham came from 2 goals down to win.
Oh, I know.
Tom, you got to go scoreline.
2-3.
That is incorrect.
I'm going to go 4-3.
That is correct.
Back of the net.
They correct.
Yeah. So Tom, I need you to give me an opposition goal scorer.
4-3.
He hasn't got a clue.
I haven't got a clue. Dean Win. Oh no, that's a different game.
What did you say?
He's going to say Dean Windass.
I'm thinking Bradford game. I was thinking the 5-4 to be fair, but no.
That was one of the 3. To be fair,
exactly. I thought it was Everton when you said it. Everton when Paya came up.
That was the other one.
Come on, Tom. There's got to be a time limit on this thing, Jonesy.
Crespo.
Incorrect.
What a shout.
Incorrect.
Andy Carroll.
Incorrect.
Oh.
There's me thinking I thought you had it, mate.
No, I thought I had it, but I obviously don't.
So, West Ham goal scorer?
That was my guess for that, so it's Tom's guess on West Ham,
The Afrosacco?
Incorrect.
Frank Lampard.
Incorrect.
Oh, no, this is a nightmare.
Canute.
No, it's me.
Need a stadium
Upton
now.
Park.
Incorrect.
Ah, no! Oh, what a shambles.
Nah, this is serious.
Come on, Tom. Need a stadium, mate.
Here we go.
This is shambolic.
This is
Absolutely
shambolic.
shambolic.
Villa Park.
Sorry?
Villa Park.
Incorrect. Come on, boys. I'm going to ask you for an opponent now, but at this stage, you're not going to get it.
I am nowhere for this.
Oh, blimey. I thought I had it with the Andy Carroll thing, but...
I
completely...
think...
Right. I'm
Yeah.
going to go...
I know it
Tottenham.
Incorrect.
Oh, no.
now. I get a go, yeah?
Yep.
Huddersfield.
Bang on, yes. He's
Oh.
leveled it. He's leveled it. He's leveled it. So now I need the season. Now this could be the winner for this week. 1-1.
2000 and... Hang on. Yeah, 2018-19.
That is correct.
Ah!
That was
Oh,
shambles.
thank God. That was a shambles.
He's won it at the death. He's won it at the
Was
death.
that Chicharito?
Yeah.
It was, yeah. West Ham 4, Huddersfield 3. Chicharito off the bench with 2 goals in the last 5 minutes. It was the third time in Premier League history we'd come from 2 goals down to win a football match. Obviously,
See,
we're 1-0 up.
I was thinking far, like loads further back than that. That was my problem there.
See, the other obscure fact I had was that Samir Nasri played that was his last appearance for West Ham, and it was that he came off the bench to play a key role in his last appearance, and obviously he got the assist for Hernandez's first goal. But I thought if I say Samir Nasri, that just closes the window for when the game is.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, I like that. I was thinking way too further back there, but
I thought
so that
everything
to
get out of my
Jonesy.
head and then from them thrown.
Well, Tom's absolutely furious. If you haven't ever watched this podcast on YouTube before, now would be the time to do it. Tom Edwards absolutely tearing his gorgeous hair out. Jonesy, how does that leave the scores? A 2-1 victory for me there. Can you update everyone?
So that leaves you both, Will and Tom, both on 13, and myself still on 18. So a couple of low-scoring weeks the last couple of weeks. To be
Absolutely.
fair.
Good
So
stuff.
I'm still well ahead.
Yeah, annoyingly so. 6 points clear, Jonesy, and yeah, I needed to pick up a few more then. But nice one all the same. And by the way, I will just remind you that after that game, I know you love giving me stick about this, but after that game, I was furious.
Bet you were.
The Huddersfield 3-0 down to Huddersfield, the worst team almost in Premier League history. I was absolutely seething. I was not joining in with the joy about coming back to win 4-3 after that one. But stick with us, because next up, I'm delighted to say we have got Kate Longhurst, West Ham midfielder, or the West Ham women midfielder. We've got her dad, Jeff, joining us to give us some insight into Matt Beard's departure from the women's team last week. Of course, we'll look ahead to the Chelsea game and we'll hear how the squad have reacted to the decision to let Matt Beard go, or for Matt Beard to walk away. So that's Jeff Longhurst, dad of West Ham women midfielder Kate, and lifelong Hammers fan as well. Coming up next. So name that game there, and we're there already. We're at the end of the show, the final segment, the West Ham women's section. What a show we've had so far. Frank McAvennie, West Ham legend, on to chat all things West Ham. Some great anecdotes about the boys of '86. Tim Wildwood, the Aston Villa fan and TV presenter, to look ahead to next Monday night's game. But now I'm delighted to say that we are joined by Jeff Longhurst, who is a massive West Ham fan himself, but also his daughter is midfielder for the West Ham women, Kate Longhurst. Jeff, it's absolutely brilliant to be joined by you tonight. It's been a huge week for the West Ham women's team. And Matt Beard, obviously head coach, has left his job. It was a mutual decision. I think it was made quite clear when Matt left it was mutual. Some really nice messages being exchanged from fans, players and the club. It was all very, very amicable in the end. But what did you make of that, first of all? First of all, let us know, sort of, you've known Matt for quite a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. Well, first of all, thanks for having us on.
Pleasure.
Matt, I've known Matt for about 9 years, I suppose, through Chelsea, Liverpool and then West Ham, where Kate's played. But he is such a nice bloke. He's a genuine person. He doesn't give you any, fob you off with anything. He will tell it how it is. But he's got so much sort of care for the players as well, as individuals and as a team. And he looks after them as it's one of his family, really.
Well, so, Jeff, West Ham won, didn't they? 4-0 over Charlton, Championship side Charlton, in the League Cup last Wednesday, which came off the back of the Brighton defeat in the WSL. But before that, they'd got 2 good wins, and there was a little bit of positivity coming back into the team and the squad. What did you make of the decision the decision on both parts for Matt to leave? What did you make of that? Did you see it coming, or was it something that you were pretty surprised about?
Yeah, I think most people thought it would happen because of the bad results we've had this season. But with the timing, I mean, obviously he actually resigned before the Charlton game, but kept it until after that so he could see that game through.
Is that what happened?
Yeah. So, but he hadn't told all the players before, only a couple.
Yeah. Well, what did you?
It's a shame because they've built a big squad up there now. As I was saying to you before about perhaps it's too many overseas players and not enough homegrown. I think that's where the biggest sort of problem is. And getting them to blend in, because every season it's a brand new team.
Jeff, do you think it was just a case that he just didn't think that there was a way forward with that squad, or he felt as if he'd taken them as far as he could? Because obviously, he's had a few really good years there. Is it literally just a case of brick wall, can't take this squad any further, and just sort of pass it on to someone who potentially might be able to?
Yeah, in a way. The way I'd explain it, I think anyway, is that he thinks he's let the team down himself because he's not getting the best out of them. He's a very honest person. And I think what really is needed is, we need more funding, but look at the men's team, so, it's not going to happen. But we've got extra funding this season to get all the other players in, but he was honest enough to think, well, hold on, I've got a good enough squad here to compete. We're losing a lot of games. And I think he thought it's probably the best thing for both sides, for me to go and also for the team.
Jeff, looking forward, and to the last week, it's obviously a tough week for a lot of those players who've played with him, got to an FA Cup final with him and achieved a lot. How are they going to get over this and cope with it and sort of move on and obviously crack on with the rest of the season? Because luckily they've got the weekend off now until the 6th, I believe. So how can they look to bounce back? And they've got to start with Chelsea, I guess. Chelsea away on the 6th.
Yeah, well, they're all professional for a start, and they're all trained that way, and they should be able to cope with it. I mean, it's not exactly the ideal game.
Yeah,
Face the first game after that happening, where they lost 8-0 there last season.
It's not an easy one.
One of the worst days I've ever seen, but I'm sure as individuals and a team, they'll rally together. But I don't know what's happening with new manager coming in or anything like that. So I don't know where they are with that process. How long that will take, if they can get anyone at this time of the year. I don't know who's out there that's sort of available at the moment.
Jeff, you'll obviously have a first-hand view of it. But how have the squad reacted to the news? Because he was obviously well thought of.
Oh yeah,
within that team. How's it gone down?
They're all very sad because they all feel like they're part of his family. They will miss him, but they're also, as I said before, professional enough to know that they've just got to get on with it now, and perhaps a clean break sometimes is a good thing. It could be good for the team, and they've just got to push on now. And I was looking at the fixtures today. You know, they've got 15 games left, and really, you'd say 8 of those are winnable. You know, obviously, like the top 4, you're going to not right off, but not really got to have much chance of picking up points. But they've got some games that are very winnable. So I don't think they'll go down. I think they're too good to go down. I've been said a few times, but
yeah. With that, obviously Bristol City are at the bottom at the moment. There's only one team who get relegated from the WSL. So, like you say, you would hope that they've got enough definitely to stay up, and I think no one's really too concerned about that side of things. But you've mentioned when we were having a chat before, and you mentioned that the spirit among the squad this season may not be quite what it was last year. You've mentioned some new faces in. What can you sort of tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, last season I think the squad they had, they just bonded so well, and that doesn't happen very often in teams. So I think it was sort of better than you could have even expected last season, whereas this season it's just mellowed a bit. And I think some of the players that are there at the moment maybe think, yeah, I'm not too good for the team, but just that, yeah, we should be winning with us in it. You shouldn't have to change. You should never take me off the pitch. Whereas last season, I think it was more of a teamwork between. The ethic was better. So I think that's where they've struggled a little bit. But having said that, I mean, Kate says, you know, off the field and that they get on so well. But I think also on the pitch, sometimes heads drop a bit quick if things aren't going their way at the moment.
Jeff, you mentioned that, you know, it hasn't really been the same team. There's a lot of incomings and outgoings every summer. Do you think that plays a part in sort of really struggling to get any kind of consistency, sort of, you know, from one season to the next? Because, you know, you hear people say all the time, you know, too many changes can really sort of change the flow, particularly in the men's game. You know, make 5 or 6 changes in the summer, and you know, you can lose a little bit of that in the dressing room, a little bit of that, you know, that cohesion. Do you think that has played a part this year? Oh
yeah, definitely. It's, you know, if you're changing like 9 or 10 players every season, that bonding you're getting through the season, all of a sudden is just disbanded, and you've got to start again. It's like just playing for a different team. And, you know, if you've got a different goalkeeper coming in, then you've got the other one still there that was playing well, and a lot of other players not getting as much game time who probably deserve more game time. It makes it very difficult just changing all the time.
And Jeff, what's Kate's? How's Kate feeling at the moment? She's obviously sort of 31 now, towards that, or certainly a more experienced campaigner. Should we put it that way? You mentioned there the clubs that she's been at already. It was with Matt at Liverpool, of course, as well. And how's she feeling at the moment? What's her sort of plans for the future?
Well, plans for the future, we'd have to ask her that. But I mean, she's got another 1 year on her contract after this season. Then I don't know, you know, whether she'll play or pack up. I don't know. It's nothing I really discuss with her. So, but, I mean, she's a bit upset at the moment because she hasn't had that much game time this season. Been disappointing for me as well, because she adds that little bit of bite in midfield, and she's a winner. Sometimes, you do need leaders on the pitch, and we've got Gilly at the back who's a leader. Kate is also a leader. That's been a bit lacking. So yeah, she's down because she hasn't been playing as often as she wants to. But as soon as, you know, she will just train as hard every single day to try and get back in the team.
That's what you got to do, I guess, isn't it, Jeff? Yeah. You and Kate are both lifelong West Ham fans as well. And what's that like from Kate's point of view? Obviously, it must be great for you to see your daughter play for the club. But what's it like for Kate? Is there that little bit of added specialness, for want of a better word, playing for the club that you supported as well?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what's going through her head every time she plays, because you can imagine yourself if you were playing for the men's team. You know, when she walked out at Wembley, the cup fight.
Wow, yeah.
It was just that feeling. It even beat, I think, when she won the WSL twice with Liverpool. You know, they won the league. It's just, it's your team, isn't it? Something special about it.
And before we let you go, Jeff, what are you both making of the men's team at the moment? Frank McAvennie on earlier in the show, all sweetness and light, all positivity. Tim Wildwood, who we had on for our opposition view, saying that, you know, he's back to 1-1 draw. Me and the boys have gone a little bit more optimistic. But what do you make of the men's team this season as a lifelong fan yourself?
2 words: pleasantly surprised. I'm really happy. Really happy, because after last season, you know, the heads go down and you think, oh, here we go again. Yeah, same old West Ham, seen it over so many years. Yeah, get a bit of promise comes through, then all of a sudden you get a kick in the teeth and you're back down the bottom again. But I think they're playing well at the moment. That system seems to suit them. Whether they should stick to that every single game, I don't know. But certainly works at the moment with the fixtures they've had.
Yeah.
Been quite happy watching them, you know, the way they've been playing the football they've been playing.
Yeah, absolutely. I've give you. We'll let you go, but just give us a quick score prediction before we do, Jeff, for the Villa game on Monday night.
We're going to win that 2-0.
2-0. Excellent. Jonesy, you're not
that.
the only one who's gone for a 2-goal victory now. That's not so bad, is it?
Yeah, I'm not that mad, am I?
No, exactly. Well, Jeff, look, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Jeff Longhurst, West Ham fan and father of Kate Longhurst, midfielder for the West Ham women's team. With all the best with supporting the women's team every week on the podcast, Jeff. And although I think we were talking about the potential of Matt Beard going before, some of the journalists we had on suspecting that maybe that was coming, but we wish all the best to all the girls and to Kate in particular. And fingers crossed, perhaps you might have a word and get Kate on 1 week soon if she's allowed.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sure she'd be pleased to do that. So.
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. Jeff Longhurst there, dad of Kate Longhurst, midfielder for West Ham women and lifelong West Ham fan. Well, that is about it for the We Are West Ham show tonight. But stay with us because we've got some final thoughts from James and Tom, and of course the FPL update next. So, Jeff Longhurst there, dad of West Ham women's midfielder Kate, an absolutely brilliant guest, giving us some insight into Matt Beard's departure from the women's team last week. Interesting, boys, to see what's going to happen with that. Had a couple of names sort of floating around for who could be next in as boss, but yeah. What did you make of what Jeff had to say there, James?
I thought it was interesting. I thought that the big thing was that, you know, he'd already resigned before that Charlton game and obviously decided not to tell the players, which is obviously the right thing to do before a cup game, before any game really, if you're going to make that decision. But managed to win the game 4-0 and he still decided that, you know, he'd probably taken the team as far as he could, and it needed an injection of fresh ideas and something a little bit different. So and we've heard so many times that, you know, Matt Beard's such a nice guy. So sounds like he made the right decision in the end.
Absolutely. Well, we certainly all wish Matt all the best here at the We Are West Ham podcast in whatever he decides to do next. I've heard some whispers that it might be Luke Swindlehurst, who's the next name perhaps in the offing, involved at Barnet at the moment, quite a well-respected coach, but nothing too certain on that, so watch this space. We'll do a fantasy football update. 83 points for me last week, puts me on 526 points in total. I'm going to get through this quickly because James and Tom, are just not interested in fantasy football this year, or so it would seem looking at their team. James, you've got 64 points this week, puts you on 461, which is bottom out of me, you and Tom. Tom, you got 58, lowest score in the week, but you're still 7 points ahead of Jonesy on 468. Rudy Eagling is still top of the We Are West Ham podcast league, which you can join on code CNY60U. He's 35 points clear now Rudy, but he didn't quite get as many as me this week, I don't believe. So I've rapidly moving my way up the overall podcast league. I think I'm 90th or so out of the sort of 600 odd of our listeners that we've got joining in. Jonesy, do you even want me to ask you about it with 3 minutes left of the podcast?
No, just if anyone's got any tips on how to pick the right captain. Like, I mean, 64 points is decent. No, not you. I'm not asking you.
Oh, right, because I picked Dominic Calvert-Lewin and he got me loads of points.
No. 64 points is a respectable weekly score. But this annoyed me even more because had I actually picked any one of my players other than Mane, who I did pick, I would have picked up some points. So I had Jota in my team, I had Calvert-Lewin in my team, I had Son in my team, Jimenez in my team. Even Robertson got 12 points in the back, and I didn't give him any of them the armband. So I'm livid. 5 weeks in a row, no captain returns.
Absolutely lovely to hear. Tom, 58 points, the lowest score out of all three of us. 58, not too bad, to be fair. 468 in total. Seems like a bit of a relegation battle between you and James at the moment. How are you feeling?
I did a wildcard a few weeks ago, and I'm definitely happier with the troops I've got now. I think onwards and upwards. I'm actually quietly confident that I'll start moving in the right direction, mate. I'll be on your ass.
I'm pleased to hear it. But as we wrap up for the show, it's been a brilliant show tonight. West Ham legend Frank McAvennie on, and we're absolutely delighted that Frank took the time out from up in Scotland to join us and give us some great anecdotes. Jonesy, with 1 minute and 45 seconds left of the podcast, give me some final thoughts.
Final thoughts are another great episode. Great to have Frank on. Before we go, one especially very, very good review on the iTunes.
We've had a few this week, haven't we?
We've had a few this week, but one really does stand out. Ulster Hammer, love the pod, lads. Great guests, interviews, features and laughs. Come on, you wines, long live the dead giraffe. So as a fan of Dead Giraffe, and at Okie50, great listeners always, lads. Keep them coming. Just subscribed. So yeah, thanks for those reviews.
Wonderful. Yeah, if you feel so inclined, then do give us a review on iTunes. Go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The link to that is in the description to this podcast below. Tom, I need some brief 20-second final thoughts from you.
Yeah, another great pod. Amazing to have a club legend on again. So, yeah, long may it continue for the pod and fingers crossed for the weekend. It was a good time to be a West Ham fan. Looking forward to it this weekend, or Monday it is. So, yeah, carry on. Let's keep going, West Ham. Keep churning out results.
Absolutely. Well, the Hammers put the blades to the sword last time out, and it's the villains again on Monday. Keep the faith, everyone. Thanks for listening. Up the Hammers, and we'll see you next week.